Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hi friends, today we are going to talk about Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. Veer Savarkar, as we all know, has been proponent of the ideology of Hindutva, and that's why he has been targeted by the left historians, by the Marxists, the intelligentsia, which follows the Marxist and the left ideology. And it has consistently and persistently targeted Savarkar over the last so many decades. In public discourse, Savarkar has been tried to be projected as a communalist, though he was a revolutionary and he propagated Hindu nationalism, he propagated the ideology of Hindutva. And I think there is a lesson in today's video for the left of India, which is because of its dogmatic approach. Everything which is related to cultural nationalism or Hindu nationalism, so it opposes this ideology, or it opposes Hindu nationalism, and that's why it has consistently targeted Savarkar. Now, in 1911, there was a very interesting case which happened in the International Court of Justice, Hague. And first, about the case. The case was related to the daring escape which Savarkar made from a British steamer or a British ship called Moria. It happened on July 8th, 1910. Savarkar was arrested in London and he was brought to India for a trial because of his revolutionary activities. And when Moria, this ship, reached near the French shore, Savarkar got an opportunity and he jumped through the porthole and swam across for quite a few miles, and then reached the shore there. And so it was the city of Marseille, and at the port of Marseille, the British police reached there, and there was a French police officer who handed over Savarkar to them. But then later on, a dispute arose about it, and the dispute was that the France demanded restitution of Savarkar on the ground that his delivery to the British authorities on board the vessel was contrary to the rules of international law. And upon Britain's refusal to comply to this French demand, the dispute went for arbitration to a tribunal, that's International Court of Justice, Hague. Now, when the case went to International Court of Justice, Hague, guess who defended Savarkar there? It was none other than the grandson of Karl Marx himself. Yes, it was grandson of Karl Marx, and I also want to tell you here that the grandson of Karl Marx, his name was Jean-Laurent Frederick Longuet. So Longuet, he was born in 1876. He passed away in 1938. He was born in London, but their family later on moved to France. And he was a French socialist. He was a socialist. He was a prominent socialist leader. He was a politician. He was a journalist, and he was trained as a lawyer also. And he also founded a popular French newspaper at that time, and he was the editor of that newspaper, La Populaire. When Longuet, the grandson of Karl Marx, defended Savarkar in International Court of Justice, so he made a very passionate plea. And it also showed that he was a great admirer of Savarkar also. He termed him as a patriot, as a nationalist, as a revolutionary, and he also had a lot of praise for Savarkar's intellect, especially the famous book which Savarkar wrote, The War of Independence 1857, which was banned by the British and which was considered to be, you can say, one of the most popular books, one of the most inspiring books among Indian revolutionaries. And I will quote a couple of things from what Longuet said during this, you can say, the arguments. And that shows what he thought about Savarkar. So I quote Longuet. Mr. Savarkar took from an early age an active part in the agitation of the Hindu Nationalist Party. With his elder brother Ganesh, Savarkar was preaching everywhere with passion the gospel of national independence, advocating armed uprising of his countrymen. The rallying cry of the young nationalist was a cry which has since become famous throughout India, Vande Mataram. And then he goes on to explain what Savarkar has done for India, and now about his intellect. So, Longwit says, upon his arrival in the India House, Savarkar wrote the preface to a translation into Marathi on life of Mazzini, the Italian revolutionary. And Mazzini was one of the most inspiring figures for Savarkar. He was deeply impressed by Mazzini. In fact, the book which he wrote on him, so that book was also banned by the British government at that time. So, coming back to Longwit, he says, soon after, he began and finished a complete history of the War of Independence in 1857, called by the British writers the Great Mutiny. This book, a real scientific value, was translated into English by several residents of India House and was published under anonymous signature. So this is what the grandson of Karl Marx said about him. Though the case which went to International Court of Justice, so the verdict was delivered on February 24th, 1911 in favor of Britain. So Savarkar could not be sent back to France. In fact, after that, Savarkar was sent to cellular jail in Andamans, which was known as Kalapani at that time, infamously called Kalapani, and he spent almost about a decade there. And he wrote another book based on his first-hand experience there, that it's called Mera Ajivan Karavas, and it explains what all the revolutionaries were going through and what all Savarkar went through in cellular jail. Finally, to conclude, I think what Longwit said in his appeal, it shows that according to him, the philosophy of Marx, or the Marxism or the socialism at that time, which he pursued, which he preached, it was not in contradiction to Hindu nationalism, which Savarkar was preaching. So I believe there is a lesson for the left and the Marxist historians and the intelligentsia in this. And that's it for today's video. And please do share your feedback, and we will soon be back with another video in this column with another interesting topic. Thank you.